You're listening to the Chad Hasty Show on demand. Good for you. Now download the KFYO app and listen live weekday afternoons 5 to 7 p.m. Central.
Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty. Filling in today for Chad Hasty, it's firearms enthusiast Steve Evans.
Happy Friday. Man, we made it to the end of the week. Welcome to the Chad Hasty Show. Wow, that just blew my eardrums out. Yeah. Did you hear that too, Nick? Something. I got a button pushed wrong or something. There we go. Welcome to the Chad Hasty Show. Still blaring. I don't know the strength of my own voice. I got a new microphone cable today. Maybe that's, it's letting more audio through it. I change my cables just every so often. Hey, just for good measure. Make sure I don't have something short out right in the middle of the show. Anyway, 806-680-2790. I'm going to tell you, I'm not going to lie. It's been a rough week, man. A lot going on. A lot of different things going on. Stuff that requires a lot of attention and a lot of time. And then I do all that to do this because I love doing this. I enjoy being with you, filling in for Chad. It's a lot of fun. It does not pay. I do it just because I enjoy it and because I like all of you out there, all of you listeners. And then occasionally I get to meet a few of you in person and interact. And I really enjoy it. So enjoy your text and. I'm not going anywhere, so don't take this as it's been great, but you'll never see it. That's not what I'm saying. Just always enjoy it, and it's been wonderful connecting with so many of you over the years. I've been doing this for a long time now. A long time, back when this was somebody else's show, and I was on this time slot, and it's been a fun ride, so I hope we keep heading down the road. So hanging out again with you this evening, and if you don't know, I'll be back on Tuesday covering Chad's travel home. I think he's actually coming home maybe on Monday, but late flights and all that. We're gonna cover him on Tuesday as well. He'll be back in studio on Wednesday, bringing you all of his secret freaky tale stories from his cruise, that kind of stuff. So looking forward to hearing about that. So I hope you made it through the week. We'll get to, we're not going to ask him now because Nick doesn't have a question ready. We'll do Nick's question of the week. But I'm interested in how your week went. Did you have a rough week? Did, anything unusual other than listening to this show, which is always unusual when I'm doing it? Anything unusual happened to you this week? 806-680-2790. But yeah, stressful week for me. But this makes it better. It makes it better when I can get on the air and decompress. It's like therapy, It's scream and holler, rant and rave, get upset about stuff, get upset about things that have nothing to do with work, nothing to do with business, nothing to do with anything, just things you're passionate about. So anyway, thanks for always tuning in and interacting. So happy to hear from you. 806-680-2790 if you'd like to weigh in on the conversation. It is total and complete attention deficit Friday. I'm telling you, it's one of those. I'm going to go all over the place, I promise. Feel free to throw some squirrel moments out there and derail the conversation. That's what's actually fun about Attention Deficit Friday, is because it can just go anywhere. And if you do it properly, I'm even going to tell you how to do it. If you do it properly, eventually I actually lose it. So, yeah, it happens. I can go into complete rage. It doesn't happen often, but That's what attention deficit does. I can go in a complete ADHD rage. I've never done that on the air. It's not going to happen. But, hey, I would love for you to try. And what you do is just try to derail it. Just derail the conversation. Sometimes it's fun because when we do this, when we do Attention Deficit Fridays, sometimes what the topic you throw in the texture is better than what I'm talking about. It's more interesting. So we'll give that a go. So this is interesting. This is, there's some news out there, but this is now that I've lost the tab that I was there it is. Now that I've lost the tab and the internet's going to go down, and I'm just going to ramble for another 6 minutes till we go to break. This is an interesting story that broke this morning. I'm not going to call it breaking news. Some are, but interesting. Representative Sean Thierry switching parties to the GOP. Very interesting. She announced today in an event in Washington, D.C. held for Moms by Liberty. She says the Democrat Party has veered so far left, so deep into the progressive abyss, that it now champions policies I cannot in good conscience support. Policies like promoting sex change for vulnerable children and dismantling Title IX protections for women in sports. Now, if you remember, during the last regular Texas legislative session, there was a heavy debate on SB 14, which was going to sought to prohibit gender modification procedures and treatments or transitioning for anyone under the age of 18. She's been very passionate and passionately debated on the floor and passionately wanted to protect women in sports, and some of her debates have been, I don't know if I want to say mic drop moments, but they are. They're so heartfelt. Just I don't want to say bring tears to your eyes, but she really impressed me. And I knew that she was doing it at great risk to her own career because that's completely against her own party. And she made them all mad, and she did lose. I mean, she lost her primary, and that was going to happen. But she's standing strong. She's going to convert to the GOP, and it's interesting because we have people coming and kind of flocking to the GOP, and we're of course embracing them with open arms, but I've been kind of the one that says, wait a minute, let's not do this so quick. They have no voting record, no conservative voting record. They've done nothing to really support conservatives, but announce I'm moving over to the GOP, and that's a real easy thing to do. I like Jerry Maguire when they say, "Show me the money." When Cuba Gooding Jr. says, "Show me the money," I want to see a voting record. I want to see them get out and block walk for a conservative candidate. I want to see all that. But I'm excited at this announcement. So she says she can't support, in good conscience, support policies like promoting sex changes for vulnerable children, dismantling Title IX protections for women in sports. That is why I'm leaving the left and joining the party of family, faith, and freedom, she said in a release. I now stand with colleagues, friends, neighbors, women, and mothers in the Republican Party. Governor Greg Abbott today said, I am proud to welcome Representative Sean Thierry to the Republican Party, the party of opportunity, individual liberty, and economic prosperity. She served in the Texas legislature for 4 terms until the Democrat Party abandoned her after she delivered a 12-minute speech from the House floor in favor of a law signed to protect children. This is a very, very good debate. If you get a chance, go back and listen to it. It's really good. It's very passionate. Her decision, I did that dreaded I lost my place. I hate My apologies. We won't let that happen again. Her decision to switch parties demonstrates that the radical leftist agenda of the Democrat Party does not align with the majority of Americans. I look forward to continuing the work with her to build bigger, better Texas for generations to come. Oh, and here comes Trey Martinez Fisher, the Texas House Democrat caucus chair. Like we always care what he has to say. He bids Thierry adieu, saying if she looks at a party taking away the freedom for women to control their bodies, cutting health care for millions, and led by a racist petty convict, because they got nothing better to call him than a racist, and says, I want in on that mess. I think that says more about her than the Democrat Party. Adios. As chair of the caucus, I don't get involved in primaries. Of course he does. I'm surprised Paxton didn't kick his door in. But here's the honest truth. Sean Theory didn't lose her seat because of a stance on a particular issue. She was fired by the voters of the House District 146 because she didn't respect their will and what they wanted for their community. After receiving thousands of dollars from right-wing interests, and they're just going to throw her under the bus. They knew, like we all did in the Capitol, trying to use my evil TMF voice, that she now serves special interest and not their own. She made the switch after a bruising primary in which progressive challenger Lauren Simmons unseated her in a runoff. The state representative bucked her own party on 2 big votes in the Texas House last session. She voted for the law banning gender modification procedures on minors, and to prohibit sexually explicit materials in school libraries. Because the Democrats wanted sexually explicit materials in school libraries. They want to leave those in the libraries. They want all the books that graphically describe things that need to be discussed with their parents. They want all that because it demoralizes society. That's what they want. Democrats like to tear things apart. They like to destroy. And what they're doing is taking just a little rock hammer, a little chipping hammer, and chipping away at our morality, chipping away at our ethics, chipping away at things that we hold dear, our very principle. And this is not principles that should be just a political issue. These are moral issues. These are faith issues. These are decency issues that every human being, regardless of political party, ought to respect. And that's treating each other with decency. I think it's the Yiddish language, act like a mensch. Act like a decent human being. They're chipping away at that to where we have, and you see it. You see the erosion of society. You see the erosion of attitudes. You see the degradation of the way people treat each other. The way we don't take care of our neighbors anymore. We would rather back over somebody. We have aggressive driving. We have road rage. We have someone that'll rip the last box of whatever off the shelf at the supermarket and scream and holler at you for getting in their way. We have the Karens have always been around, but they've gotten worse. This is all things that chip away at morality. This is the Democrats' plan. This is what they're doing and how they're going to eventually destroy America. And listen, Kamala Harris is the worst, the absolute worst. She is the one that will lead this country on a destructive path where we won't recognize it anymore. Got to take a break. Hey, more rants. More rants. Well, that was not an ADHD rage, by the way, texter. It was not. It might happen later. Take a quick break, and I'll be right back. Steve Evans hanging out for Chad Hasty.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock, News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
I'm a pretty great multitasker. I can wash dishes and do laundry. I can roller skate while walking my dog. I can even order lunch while doing my homework. But I can't use my phone while driving. A distracted driver is one of the leading causes of death in the United States. So when it comes to driving, please, don't be a multitasker.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Hey, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. 806-680-2790. I got a weather alert, and now I can't get it to load. Looks like flooding in Floyd County. Let me see if I can get that to load up. I don't know what's going on with it. It popped up on the alerts on my phone, and now I can't get the actual alert to load. But looks like we got some severe weather and flooding out in Floyd County. You're in the listening area, so folks, let's see if I can get this. Nick, do you have anything on that? It just popped up. I got a Lubbock KCBD Lubbock alert popped up, flooding in Floyd County. I just want to verify that. If there is, we need to make sure we get that out to you. It's what I read real quick, just kind of out of the corner of my eye. It's had a lot of roads closed too. So if you're in Floyd County, text in. Let us know what's going on out there so we can share. 806-680-2790. Several to get to. 777. Yeah, I've calmed down. I'll get wound up again. 777 says, people who say Big Springs makes me nuts. Makes me nuts too. It's just one big spring. Used to be a gathering in India. Was it the Comanche Indians met in Big Spring? 787 Steve. Is it true they made y'all eat crayons in the Navy? That's the Marine Corps. Sailors don't eat crayons. Our food is not that great. It actually on the boxes says fit for human consumption. I think prisoners had better food than we did in the Navy, unless you were on a submarine. I think I've said this on the air before. If you were on a submarine, you got outstanding food. So when we were stationed at 32nd Street Naval Station, some of the schools for the operations specialists were out on Point Loma, and right down the road from the Fleet Combat Training Center there was the sub base. So we'd go over there for lunch because, man, their food was fantastic. Way better food than we got even if you ate on base at 32nd Street Naval Station, but a million times better than anything you got shipboard. So crayons might have been better. I don't know. 466 says, next we'll be killing each other in football arena, gladiator stuff. Oh, or like, remember Logan's Run? Did you ever watch that movie? They made like two versions of it. When you got to, I think it was 50, you went into, was it called Arena? And people watching and cheering, and it's like you were supposed to be reincarnated, rejuvenated, and they're just killing you. And it was like a big deal to go to Arena, and I think Logan's internal clock was ticking, and he didn't want to face that, and couldn't. Oh, he was one of the law enforcement guys that went out and drugged these people to Arena, and he just couldn't in good conscience do it anymore. So he was trying to escape the city. Anyway. Let's see. 209. High school football kicks off tonight. You ever go to any games? When I can. I love high school football. I stream. I listen to them online. Nick, we have games tonight. Got some games coming up tonight on KFYO. Several of the Lubbock affiliates, and probably some in KYYW, Abilene, Wichita Falls. They're probably airing a few games too. High school football is the greatest. I like to go to Coronado, especially when Coronado plays Monterey. My only thing that kind of holds me back is it's a gun-free zone, and I don't like gun-free zones. I don't go to gun-free zones. We'll talk about the Texas State Fair in a little bit. I just don't go to gun-free zones, but occasionally I'll leave it at home to go to a high school football game. But I love to see Coronado beat up on Monterey High School. 209, you're just throwing a blunderbuss at it. You think J-Lo will get ever married again? See, you can't derail me on stuff that I don't care about. Don't care about J-Lo. How would you handle a Venezuelan gang takeover of a property you owned? I would get out my single shotgun that was for hunting, and I would deliver as many rounds downrange as fast as I could, and I would secure my property. Of course, they would have to be a hostile takeover, so it would be justifiable, right? The use of force, probably. That's how I would handle it, just like that. But you already knew that. Still not finding that, just combing the story. 806-680-2790. Did you find it? Yeah, let me take a look here. Nick's found it. We do have a flood advisory in Lynn County. My alert said Floyd County. Nothing in Floyd County? I don't see anything now. Waiting for that to refresh and upload, but it keeps just bringing up a woman seriously injured in a crash. So sorry about that. Yeah, we do have a flood advisory right now, flood watch in Lynn County. So take a look at that. Get your TVs turned on. It could be some severe weather. Could affect, and it could have been Lynn County too, Nick. I just saw it out of the corner of my eye. These could affect football tonight. So be careful with that. I want to wrap up the Sean Theory thing because there's a few more things to say. Let's see. During, let me back up, the state representative backed her own party when she voted against, we hit, yeah, I ran out. I wasn't watching the clock. So now we've ran out of time. Now I got to do this in the next segment after news and weather, but pay attention to the weather if we've got a good update. Just pay attention to that, and I'll see if we can find all the weather advisories when we come back. This is the Chad Hasty Show, news and weather, and I'll be right back.
Call in to the Chad Hasty Show at 1-800-687-0790. The Chad Hasty Show, broadcasting on the Texas Town Square Media Network.
Chance Wilcox lived his life with a kind heart, and anyone would tell you that. But I'll never forget the call that my only son, with so much life ahead of him, had been killed instantly by a distracted driver on her cell phone. The happiness we all had and enjoyed up until that time was gone in 1 second by a 100% preventable action.
Heads up, Texas. Using your phone behind the wheel can be deadly. Talk, text, crash. Brought to you by TxDOT.
Hey, Dad, how do airplanes fly? What's in this box? Is this tree good for climbing? How are babies made? What does this thing do?
Kids are curious about everything, including guns. Talking to them about gun safety in your home is a good first step, but you can do more. Always keep your guns locked, unloaded, and stored separately from ammunition. Safe gun storage saves lives. Learn how to make your home safer at endfamilyfire.org. That's endfamilyfire.org. Brought to you by End Family Fire, Brady, and the Ad Council.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Don't you forget about Chad at Chad Hasty Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on your radio. Now back to the Chad Hasty Show.
Back on the Chad Hasty Show. Steve Evans hanging out with you today. Thunderous applause noise again. Yay, where everybody just cheers. Looks like it is Lynn County. There's not any precipitation in Floyd County. We're on this new, since the text line works so well, we're on this new let your listeners work for you, and we just ask you to do all of our research for us. Nick checked for us. Lynn County, beware. Let's see. And I got another update. New Home Independent School District has advised that all Liberty football fans traveling to New Home for tonight's game should avoid traveling on South Slide Road to reach New Home. Instead, the district advises Liberty fans travel south on Highway 87, then west on 211. This will lead Liberty fans directly into the visitor parking lot. You can. This actually came off of. Looks like Lubbock Cooper ISD's page, their Facebook page, if you want a map of that. So if you're heading out to that game, be careful. In Lynn County, hey, keep your heads down there. That's New Home. That is Lynn County there. So yeah, could be really wet. So That is probably why that advisor, how old is that? Is that just recently? That was an hour ago, so they knew. South Slide, I guess, just gets covered up out there, and that may be what they're talking about. So you folks out there in Lynn County, just be careful. Be careful going out to all those football games tonight. I think it just goes without saying. You're going to be in parking lots, kids everywhere. Just be careful. Enjoy that high school football. Don't make it a catastrophe on top of it. I'm going to get through this Sean Theory story because there's just a few more things left to say about it. So, she did give a passionate speech back in a proposal against gender modification. She was censured by a local Democrat group for her vote supporting that law. She was the only Democrat to vote for that bill. She wasn't the only Democrat to vote for the bill. 3 others did, but was the only one to speak in favor of it. And I championed her for it. It was fantastic. The move was a long time coming for those in the Capitol who saw her becoming increasingly disaffected with the Democrat Party leadership. She is the latest in a string of high-profile party switches. State Representative Ryan Gillian made the switch in 2021. Dallas Mayor Eric Johnson flipped last year, both citing change in their previous party's priorities. 3 Democrats in border counties flipped parties last November. That gives the Republicans in the Texas House 87 members. Now her seat will return to the Democrats when the body convenes next year. So, let's flip a few more. Keep it coming. Keep it coming. And I think this is a pretty big message to the Democrat Party. You're losing leadership because your policies are drifting so far left. They're drifting to insane. You're going to be members of the party that leads this country completely down the tubes, into destruction, completely destroys it. Oh, a republic if you can keep it, my friends. And this is going to be the challenge. 806-680-2790. Let's see. I was looking for someone that was to Floyd County. There is no rain in Floyd County. Thank you. I appreciate that. I actually had a moment to check the radar. There is no rain in Floyd County yet. Great big O storm south of Lubbock. Let me take a look at that one more time, update that, get another quick look at it. Refresh. My goodness, it's not wanting to do it. I was going to take a quick look at it. Here, there we go. Let me refresh this. Just take a quick look at it for you folks because it's just nothing's working today. Nothing's working. I can't get the radar picture to come up now. It's thinking. It's Nick's fault. Absolutely Nick's fault. Well, so now it looks like that storm did pass through Florida, but I still can't find that alert. It's on up into Memphis. Big storm came through Midland, Odessa. You got rain north of Abilene right now. Getting over into the live snapshot. Let me see if I can pause it. Yeah. Is that a current picture, Nick? There we go. Boy, that is not what this weather picture shows. Well, it just looks further south than that. Yeah, a lot of rain from Odessa all the way over to Big Spring, singular. You're welcome. We've got some in Lamesa, down that area, headed out of Lamesa. Looks like we did have some rain earlier. That storm that was in north did come across around Floyd County, Plainview, Memphis area, headed into Oklahoma. Wichita Falls, you got a little bit. There it goes, refreshing again. Need to turn that auto refresh off for a second. But the biggest concern right now is just east of Lamesa. So be careful there. You folks down in Midland, Odessa, you're about to get pelted with a pretty good little cell. But we need the rain. We need it all over West Texas, from the central rolling plains to the high plains. We need the rain. Cotton burning up everywhere. We need to salvage some of it. Anyway, let me see where we're at. And we're going to hit a break here in another couple of minutes. So I was back on that Democrat rant again, and you can go out and encourage a Democrat to flip parties. You can engage them, and you can ask them those hard questions. That why are you a member of a party? And some are members of the party just because that's the way they can win. That's why we have rhinos in the Republican Party, because that's the only way they can win. They can't win in the Democrat Party, so they've got to come over and run as a conservative, and then they turn right around and they do things that are not consistent with conservatives. Same thing happens in the Democrat Party. They have people jump ship over there. They run as Democrats, and then they don't protect their values. And I like those people. It's okay if you do it to the Democrat Party. I don't want you doing it to the Republican Party, but it's okay if you do it to the Democrat Party. But I just, it's that brick wall that I was talking with Congressman Arrington about last night, where things are going to reach fever pitch. Where is it? And can you really, well, I guess you can, as I'm thinking this out. Are there really that many Democrats out there that support that ideology, that aren't eventually going to be like Representative Theory that goes, you know what, enough's enough. I cannot continue to participate in this radical left party. Because even in the Texas House and in the U.S. House of Representatives, there are Democrats that I say there's no more Democrats left, but there are some hard left Democrats that just don't want to go that far left. They still have some morals, they still have some values, and so I hope this keeps happening, and I hope they continue to lose seats. Works great for us, and I hope those that flip to the Republican Party are true to their word. And they're not just doing it to come in and be spies, or come in and just mess up the caucus or mess up the votes, or just they're doing it and still represent the Democrat Party. That's the thing that bothers me. That's why I'm always leery of them. Got to take a quick break. Back with an Oregon story in a little bit. It popped up. It was interesting. We'll talk about that after the break. 806-680-2790 is the number to text in on this Attention Deficit Friday. And happy to hear from you. Chad Hasty Show, Steve Evans hanging out back in there.
I've never seen you look like this without a reason. Another promise falling through another season passes by you.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show, 806-680-2790. Text line's quiet today. None of you have the courage to text in. You're all scared. Every one of you. You won't do it. You're all just scared, baby. Scared that I'm just going to take you apart. That's what you're scared of. 806-680-2790. Got an Oregon story, and you can pump your own gas in Oregon now. They lifted this in August of 23, Eric, if you're out there listening. 72-year ban on self-service gas in Oregon, though. But now they've lifted it, and it's going to be mass hysteria. There's going to be gas everywhere. Now they're stepping back from their drug decriminalization, reviving penalties. They're poised to step back from the first-in-the-nation drug Oregon's so stupid and screwed up. Beautiful, beautiful state, but idiots. First in the nation drug decriminalization law with a new measure approved by the state Senate which would reinstate criminal penalties for possessing small amounts of some drugs. The law, which took effect in 21, decriminalized possession and personal use of all drugs. I didn't know this until today, including small amounts of heroin, methamphetamine, LSD, oxycodone, and others. Yeah, small amounts, go for it. Supporters of reviving the statute say it is needed to address the state's overdose crisis. You made it yourself. You break it, you bought it. While the opponents say it reverts to an approach that hasn't been beneficial, could violate civil rights. If signed by Governor Kotek, who has indicated she is open to doing so, the measure approved Friday would restore penalties for possessing illicit drugs, including cocaine, fentanyl, heroin, and methamphetamine. I can't believe it would be legal to possess fentanyl. Possession of marijuana, which has been legalized for medical and recreational use in the state, would not be affected. All the potheads say, yay! The legislation would implement jail sentences of up to 6 months for possessing small amounts, and police could also confiscate your stash and stop their use in parks and on sidewalks. Okay. The measure encourages law enforcement agencies and prosecutors to refer someone arrested or cited for possession to treatment programs instead of jail. They're so soft on people. The measure also allows for people convicted of possession to have their record expunged later. So they're bringing it back, but not really. Oregon has experienced one of the largest spikes in drug overdose deaths, and a 2023 audit report also said the state has the second highest rate of substance abuse disorder in the nation, while also ranking 50 for treatment access. So they created the problem, but they didn't create the treatment for the problem. That problem has prompted criticism and pressure by Republicans to change the decriminalization law. A well-funded ballot campaign to further weaken the statute is underway. Researchers say it is too soon to determine whether the decriminalization measure contributed to the increase in overdoses. Really? What else would it be? It's more people are using and less people afraid of getting in trouble for using. It's pretty simple there, researchers. They worry that it will disproportionately impact people. Are they really going to make an argument here? It will disproportionately impact people affected by drug addiction and focuses too much on punitive measures rather than treatment. Critics have also said it will further burden public defenders' caseloads. I got the hiccups all of a sudden. I'm fighting on the legislature. Yeah. Nick can hear it. He's like, yeah, something's wrong with you. Got the hiccups. I think they're gone. The legislation also exacerbates the challenge faced by those grappling with addiction, particularly impacting black and brown Oregonians and those experiencing homelessness. Gloria Ocho Sandoval, policy director of Unite Oregon, said in a statement released by a coalition of groups opposed to the measure, "We want our drugs." Oh, you got places that are fighting to decriminalize and places fighting to bring it back. It's the silliest thing I've ever heard. Is there some level? I don't know. We had an effort in Lubbock to decriminalize, I guess. It would still not legal in the state, but decriminalize. And what they did is they sought to create into police policy and where it was against the police policy to do anything if you had up to 4 ounces of marijuana, which I don't know if you know about marijuana. That's a lot. That's a whole lot. That is that's distribution amounts. It's not just recreational. If you've got a habit where you need 4 ounces at any given time, that's a pretty big habit. You need treatment. That measure failed. Is there a level? I think at some point, and we've talked about marijuana extensively in the past, but I think at some point, and it's going to happen through the compassionate use program, which already exists in the state of Texas. You can't buy and smoke marijuana, but there are extracted forms, liquids, and edibles that are under the compassionate use program, and I think you will see that program expand first before you actually see a decriminalization. I think we'll see an expanded medical marijuana program in the state of Texas. There was a bill in the last legislative session, it was a Senate bill that would have expanded it, the compassionate use program, to any condition that an opiate would normally be prescribed for. It died, and it never got a hearing in committee, but it was at least drafted, and it was drafted by a conservative senator. I think you'll see more of those, and I think eventually that program, that compassionate use program, will expand, and that'll be the pathway that you'll see potential decriminalization or expanded use of medical marijuana in the future. I think that's what's going to happen. As far as drugs like methamphetamine and fentanyl, why would you do that? That doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not so far hard libertarian that I want to just decriminalize everything. There needs to be some measure of control on things that are absolutely dangerous. I understand where, Oregon, the dumbest of states out there, that they do stupid things. Their litmus test is written with the stupid clause first. But I just don't understand. And so now, they're backing up from that. Anyway, more to come. This will wrap up the first hour of the Chad Hasty Show on Friday, right here on the Texas Town Square Media Network. Hour 2 of the program coming up. You're texting more. 806-680-2790. News and weather is next.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media. Broadcasting from the great state of Texas, this is the Chad Hasty Show. News and views with a Lone Star perspective. You can sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. That's 806-680-2790. Or call in at 1-800-687-0790. Now, here's Chad Hasty. Filling in today for Chad Hasty, it's Steve Evans.
Hey, welcome to Hour 2 of the Chad Hasty Show, 806-680-2790. If you'd like to send a message, nobody has heeded my warnings. None of you have. You don't have the gumption to text Eric from Hiddleston. Center's not listening. He would have taken me up on it already. Taking a quick check of weather around the listening area. Lamesa, you're in the clear. That storm's headed towards Snyder. Snyder, you're going to get hit about, if you believe the Futurecast models, about 7:15 or so, maybe a little bit earlier. And then a little later in the evening, looks like another cell developing out of Hobbs coming in towards Seagrace Seminole may make its way east across the listening area. So keep an eye on that. The rain, some of these look pretty nasty, honestly. They look pretty big storms. You folks down in the Midland, Odessa area, pretty much in the clear, maybe a little bit left, but some more forming out in New Mexico, tracking east to southeast. So that's a quick weather update for you if you're out and about, especially if you're out headed out to high school football. This is the time of year where you make sure you've got the umbrellas, you got the rain jackets, you got all that good stuff. You know, the big sheets of plastic if you're going to be that one out in the crowd, we're not going anywhere. We're watching the game. You want the big sheet of plastic. That helps. I remember years ago getting caught in a horrible storm in Ratliff Stadium in Odessa watching the Permian Panthers play. I mean, it was coming down and everybody tried to leave at one time. It was power went out on that one. We wound up hiding out in the bathrooms until everything cleared up a little bit where we could get out. Let everybody just run to their cars and let the chaos go by. But that was the worst one I've been in a stadium. Was there. Let's see. Let's find something. It's not a lot interesting today. We could talk about beer. This is interesting. Rising Democrat star, they create their own trouble for themselves too, admits he's falsely claiming a Bronze Star Award. Well, why would you do that, idiot? Maryland governor, I like to call those guys idiots. Stupid. Maryland Governor Wes Moore falsely claimed to have received the Bronze Star Medal earlier in his political career. The specter of stolen valor has hovered over the Democrat governor since his campaign for office in 22, when 2 television interviewers introduced the politician as a Bronze Star recipient. They didn't correct the interviewer, but his staff has been adamant that he never claimed to have gotten the award. Really? Freedom of Information Act request filed by the New York Times revealed Moore did, in fact, assert that he had received the Bronze Star on an application for a White House fellowship in 2006. Uh-oh. For my work, the 82nd Airborne Division have awarded me the Bronze Star Medal and the Combat Action Badge, he wrote. He later received the Combat Action Badge in May of that year, but was not a recipient when he wrote the application. He was never awarded the Bronze Star. Did he think like he was going to go out and I plan to do something heroic, and I will get awarded the Bronze Star. Maybe that's what he's doing. Moore discussed the false claims in a conversation with the New York Times, telling the newspaper that it had been an honest mistake. Was it? Made because his commanding officer had told him to include the award on his application. No, he didn't. They don't do that because that can roll back on them. Michael Fenzel, a current lieutenant general, was a lieutenant colonel in Afghanistan when he instructed Moore to award to include the award on his fellowship application. They need to interview him and see if he really said that, or if he could just be protecting him. And so believed that Moore had earned the Bronze Star. Oh, okay, and was initiating the approval process, expecting to be awarded before the fellowship began. But you don't put it on the application until you have been awarded the award. You're not a recipient until you have received. I've seen people get completely kicked out of the military just for having ribbons and awards on their uniform they did not earn while active. It's not a very smart thing to do. You can be brought up on charges. It's a much bigger deal if you're sitting active duty with false awards. I made an honest mistake by including something because my commanding officer thought it was a good idea, likely story. He thought that I earned it. But you would have known, and he was already going through the paperwork to process it. Benzola remains a close personal friend of Moore. Told the New York Times that he was only made aware Moore had never received the medal this week. Sure. The general told the newspaper that he intended to reinitiate the process of securing his Bronze Star. I take full accountability, Moore said. It was my application. But you can't undo it. You didn't get the award. He told me to. You didn't have it. But I'm going to get it. Sometimes people just amaze me, the things they will do. 806-680-2790-913 says, if Kamala's interview is any indication, Trump will absolutely destroy her in debate. I've got that. I haven't read it, but I've got it queued up, an excerpt of her interview this evening. I've heard it's really great. I haven't listened to it. But I've heard it's really great. So we'll do that. It's fairly lengthy, so we'll do that when we come back from the next break. Not ready to go to break yet, but when we come back from the next break, I'll pick that up in the next segment. Let's see if we can do something quick. J.D. Vance got booed yesterday during a firefighters union speech, and when she asked members, "What have Democrats gotten you?" He went into a heavy union area and said something like that. Republican vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance was booed by some members of a firefighters union in Boston, of all places. That's like that area up. That's like union capital of the world up there. Why would you guys say something like that? While delivering a speech in which he asked members, after supporting Democrats for so long in this union, what has it gotten you? The boos were heard immediately after Vance took the stage at the International Association of Firefighters Convention, leading him to say, sounds like we got some fans and some haters. That's okay. Listen to what I have to say here, and I'll make my pitch, he continued. But he was met with jeering again later in the speech when he declared former President Trump and himself the most pro-worker Republican ticket in history. Vance, who spoke a day after the Democrat vice presidential candidate, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz, also somebody whose military history is a little rocky, he addressed the same convention, asking union to question their past support of Democrats. In 2019, the union endorsed a Democrat for president with high hopes, the Ohio Republican said, but sadly, I believe you've been let down. And we have to be honest, my friends. The hard truth is that Kamala Harris is the latest in a long line of Democrats who come by every few years asking unions for money, promising you the moon, but often failing to deliver. After supporting Democrats for so long in this union, what has it gotten you? Over the past 70 years, union membership in this country, union membership in this country, and this is not a good thing, has declined. The influence of unions has declined, and the wages of people working in unions and non-union alike have not kept up with the pace of inflation over the last 3.5 years. But, Vance, nothing has. So I want to ask you a question that Donald Trump asked America in 2016. What the hell do you have to lose? That is his campaign. What do you have to lose? Why didn't I think of that? Vance also asked firefighters to remember the wave of anti-police protest that swept through America in the summer of 20, saying that we sure as hell will not bail out the criminals like Kamala Harris did. We're going to defend your right to free speech, including your right to speak out about unconstitutional COVID vaccine mandates imposed by your current administration. He also said, we're going to abolish every single mandate, and we're going to fight to rehire every firefighter who was wrongly terminated with all the back pay they deserve. Woo! That's some big promises there. I hope that, and they say we're going to, not we're going to try to, we're going to look into it, we're going to do our best. It's, we're going to. Just getting nervous about campaign promises like that. Eric has awoken from his nap. He says, Democrats don't realize that you earn rank. It's not a participation rank. Where you been, Eric? I've given you ample opportunities to hit me on the text line. I even said, dared you to. There you are. Oh, my goodness. Where are we at? Let's go ahead and take the break, Nick. We'll pick up Kamala Harris's interesting interview after the break. This is the Chad Hasty Show. Back in a moment.
The Chad Hasty Show can be heard all over West Texas, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Tune in on News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO in Lubbock. News Talk 940 in Amarillo, News Talk 94.7 and 1470 KYYW in Abilene, and in Wichita Falls on News Talk 96.3 and 1290. The Chad Hasty Show. Make it a part of your drive home. Weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Mama, what does the chicken say? Dog. Cat. Giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. Those are not the song. But pretty cool. I like it. Get your blood pumping. Oh my goodness. What Congressman Arrington was talking about last night with Kamala Harris is about her values. When she said her values haven't changed. In her first televised interview, well, why did she wait so long? See, that bothers me in itself. Well, I'm going to dodge the media because I can't answer the hard questions because then I will get found out that I'm lying or I'll be forced to tell the truth. Oh, the horror. In the first interview televised since officially being selected for the Democrat presidential ticket, Vice President Kamala Harris and Minnesota Governor, you can't say Minnesota without saying it like that, Minnesota Governor Tim Walz sat down with CNN, because they picked the liberal outlet to do it, to cover, among other things, what Harris plans to do as president with the economy, energy policy, and issues at the border. Dana Bash began the interview by asking Harris what voters can expect day one if she's elected. Higher taxes, that's what I heard her say. Harris said among her highest priorities is to support and strengthen the middle class. That's a bold, big task. I'm going to support and strengthen the middle class. After being pressed to be more specific, she said she would implement her plan for an opportunity economy. I've already laid out a number of proposals in that regard, which would include what we're going to do to bring down the cost of everyday goods, what we're going to do to invest in America's small businesses with our tax dollars, what we're going to do to invest in families with our tax dollars. Harris said she's planning on extending the child tax credit of $6,000 for families for the first year of their child's life, using your tax dollars to make up the budget. And in a previous week, she has mentioned a ban on price gouging by food suppliers and grocery stores would be a feature of her administration. During the interview, Harris again touched on price gouging and added that one of her proposals to address housing would be to institute a tax credit of $25,000 for first-time home buyers. Wow. Let's give everybody a $25,000 tax credit. Don't we all deserve it? How are you going to pay for all this? This is what's so funny. When asked if Bidenomics is a success, Harris explained how she, along with President Joe Biden, did the work of bringing down prescription medication and bringing manufacturing back to the United States. Hope people are fact-checking this. Then finishing that there's more to do, but that's good work. She didn't answer the question, is it working? It's not working. Harris was pushed about her flip-flop on hydraulic fracturing or fracking, the process of breaking through dense shale to unlock natural gas. She has now said she would not ban the practice in contrast to previous statements. I now figured out how much money I can make off of this and how much the lobby is willing to spend to get me to shut up. Her real answer. In 2020, I made it very clear where I stand. We are in 2024, and I have not changed that position, nor will I going forward. I kept my word, and I will keep my word. Harris was asked about how she would handle the border if she were elected and was prompted by the fact that record number of illegal border crossings have occurred during her time as vice president. After saying that, former President Trump killed the bipartisan border deal that would have put 1,500 more agents on the border, Harris said she would push the bill through as president. She'd just do it as an executive order is what she would do. I would make sure it comes to my desk. She'll make sure it comes to her desk. At what cost? What are you going to deal? How much money is this going to cost us? And I would sign it. Bash then got to how Harris first ran for president in 2019. She raised her hand on the debate stage when asked whether or not the border should be decriminalized. I believe there should be consequence, Harold told Bash during the interview. We have laws that have to be followed and enforced that address and deal with people who cross our border illegally. There should be consequence. Let's be clear. She's using Obama's line. Let me be clear. In this race, I'm the only person who has prosecuted transnational criminal organizations who traffic in guns, drugs, and human beings. Because you're the only one who's been a prosecutor. Harris said, I'm the only person in this race who actually served a border state as Attorney General. Can you really call California a border state? I mean, it is. But is that really, oh, yeah, your wide experience there as Attorney General to enforce our laws, and I will enforce our laws as president going forward. I recognize the problem. They'll do nothing. Asked if she would appoint a Republican to her cabinet, Harris said, yes, I would. You would, but you're not going to. Walz was also asked about alleged false claims he's made in the past regarding his military service. I'm surprised he didn't say, can we just get past this? That's all you people talk about. In particular, reference to weapons of war that I carried in war. My wife, the English teacher, told me my grammar's not always correct, he said, Minnesota governor said. Idiot. Following the interview airing on CNN, Ted Cruz called it embarrassing and pure propaganda on his podcast. Let's be clear. Border czar Kamala Harris was in charge of this invasion. It happened on her watch, and God forbid she becomes president, it will get worse. Congressman Chip Roy also responded to Harris's comments on CNN in the interview about the bipartisan border deal, calling it a crap bill that codified crisis level 5,000 a day and never got a vote in the Senate. Even then, it was years into a crisis that killed thousands and hurt America. Only motivation was political sale with the help of the media, literally playing out now. With less than 70 days until election, Harris and Trump are scheduled to debate on September 10th. I can't wait. I'm giddy. September 10th is going to be great. Trump will tear her to pieces. Absolutely tear her to pieces. 806-680-2790. I can't even read that. It's just a thumbs up, smiley faces, emojis. I don't know what that is, but I'm not clicking that. 466. Oh, what that's going to be. Why stop at $25K in tax credits? Eric said that's chump change in 2020 dollars. We need at least $100K in 2024 dollars, right? We were going to forgive student loans. Let's just forgive mortgages. Just forgive them. You don't owe nothing. You know, we didn't build it anyway. The government did. They own everything. They can just forgive the loan on it. Let's do that. I love how we Democrats love to talk about all these things. They make it look like it's not going to cost anything. It's a loss in tax revenue, and I am not for taxation. But if you're going to give a break, you give the break to everybody. Reduce taxes. You want to stimulate the economy. You want to help people. Reduce taxes for everybody. Roll back some taxes. But the only way you're going to do that is to have a sensible budget. A budget that focuses on America first. A budget that is a payback budget that lets us pay the deficit off instead of continuing to rack up dollar after dollar after dollar. Democrats and Republicans alike vote for these things. They vote for continuing resolutions to continue to fund the government temporarily, kick that can down the road till they try to get a balanced budget. I want more than a balanced budget. I want the payback budget. I want the payback budget with a plan that's going to tell me how you're going to completely kill the deficit. How are we going to pay all this money back? Like a Dave Ramsey method for the U.S. budget. Can we have that? Let's do a snowball. Can we do that? The Dave Ramsey snowball on a national level? I'm sure he could figure it out for you. He's a pretty sharp guy. Let's look at that kind of budget and stop just giving entitlements out to people to create votes and then saying we're going to strengthen the middle class. That's absolutely ludicrous because those breaks that you're talking about won't affect people that even have a middle class salary. Stuff drives me crazy. Hey, time for news and weather again. It comes every half hour on top of the hour. Back with your text and more when we come back.
The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays 5 to 7 p.m. Sound off during the show by sending Chad a text at 806-680-2790. Today's markets from the Texas Department of Ag.
Well, howdy, neighbors. Texas feeder cattle report prices steady to $10 higher. Cattle futures were up. August live cattle futures up 98 cents. Close at $185.85. September feeder cattle futures up 97 cents to close at $240.47. October cotton futures down. Close at $69.79. September wheat futures up 7 pennies. Close at $5.52 a bushel. September corn up 6 to close at $3.78. And September soybean futures up 8 cents. Close at $9.82 a bushel. September soybean meal futures up $3. Close at $311.60 per ton. August Class 3 milk futures were unchanged at $20.61 a hundred. October crude oil futures down $2.41. Traded at $73.50 per barrel. And the Dow Jones up 228 points. Closing at 41,563. And that's a market roundup from the Texas Department of Agriculture. I'm your commissioner, Sid Miller. And remember, friends, Texas agriculture matters. Sold.
The news and talk of West Texas. News Talk 95.1 and 790 KFYO. Don't you forget about Chad at Chad Hasty Radio on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and on your radio. Now back to the Chad Hasty Show.
Hey, welcome back to the Chad Hasty Show. 806-680-2790 is that number to text in. 466, you sent me a picture and then said Oregon makes drugs a crime again. Is that a story you're sharing with us? Let me know. 806-680-2790. 928 says the last thing we need is an entitled progressive woman with an unlimited credit card. Yeah, that credit card will be more than 29% interest, right? That sucker will be 50 or 60% interest time she gets done with it. Wasn't it Ronald Reagan who talked about entitlements and said once you hand them out, you can never roll them back? But yet Reaganomics, it eliminated welfare assistance for the working poor, reduced federal subsidies for child care services. It went after a lot of entitlement programs. It was criticized for it quite a bit. The poor's budget cuts, I think is what they call them. Oh, my goodness. But still one of the greatest presidents. One of the greatest presidents. I like Reagan. Oh, let's do this. Attorney General Ken Paxton sues the Dallas State Fair of Texas over a firearm carry ban. It was threatened earlier this month if the policy wasn't rescinded. If you remember, a large group of Republican House members signed on to a letter, Representative Burrows leading the charge, pretty much telling the State Fair, hey, what are you doing creating gun-free zones? What's your problem? So the Attorney General said, you know what, I'm going to threaten this. And it's actually an attorney friend of mine who is he is a civil rights constitutional attorney. He wrote a brief that was actually used in this lawsuit. He filed litigation against the city of Dallas and the State Fair of Texas over the latter, banning attendees from carrying firearms at a 2024 event, following through on a threat made earlier this month. Earlier this year, the State Fair of Texas, a nonprofit corporation created by the city of Dallas, announced a policy prohibiting the carry of firearms at this year's event to be held from the end of September to October. The first time such a policy has been implemented, it comes a year after 3 individuals were shot at the fair in 2023. Filed in Dallas County, the Office of Attorney General seeks both temporary and permanent injunctive relief against the policy today, appealing to the 2021 House Bill 1927, colloquially known as constitutional carry. At its root, the lawsuit alleges that the city of Dallas cannot direct its police officers to violate state law by enforcing a policy the state says violates the existing law. The State Fair of Texas has maintained that while it uses public land, it's a private organization, may restrict the carrying of firearms therein. This is going to be important because depending on how this plays out, all of those public-private deals out there, this happens at a lot of county fairs too. Sometimes it's county property, but they through a public-private partnership or nonprofit or something holds the fair. They just do it on government-owned land with government-owned facilities, government-owned buildings. Let's see. Maintained. I lost my place. The exclusion of handguns from the State Fair is an illegal ultra-virus act because it exceeds the legal authority of the officials from the city of Dallas, the lawsuit asserts. On August 14th, the OAG threatened a lawsuit if the State Fair didn't reverse course. The lawsuit adds, if a licensed holder carries a handgun on property that is owned or leased by a government entity and is not on a premise or other place on which the license holder is prohibited from carrying a handgun under state law, and there's not going to be any places out there that would fit the bill unless they're going to have a bar there that's 51% bar there. That I don't know that there is. City of Dallas and or Kimberly Tolbert, as city manager, through the officers of the Dallas Police Department, should therefore be enjoined from enforcing any criminal trespass law against licensed carry holders except those situations where a licensed carry holder enters a premise or a building in the State Fair where such premises are specifically prohibited. The OAG concedes that while some grounds within the fair's properties may prohibit firearm carry, anywhere outside the venues may not be restricted. While there are some premises or buildings within the fair park where license holder is prohibited under the Penal Code 4603 from carrying a weapon in certain, such as certain premises or buildings within the fair park that are used for high school, collegiate, or professional sporting or interscholastic events, the vast majority of the 277-acre fair park in Dallas is not a place where weapons or firearms are prohibited. As you know, if you've got a carry license, you can't go into a high school game, a professional sporting event, a college game. You can't do that. You can be immediately outside, but you can't go inside. The State Fair of Texas will continue to prioritize providing a safe and secure environment for our millions of fairgoers, as well as staff, vendors, and volunteers, a spokesman for the State Fair of Texas told the Texan News. But that's the idea. It's like, well, by prohibiting weapons, we're making it safe. No, you're making it more dangerous. Because now I'm going into a place where I know nobody's armed. I think nobody's armed. As a private, I carry my single shotgun into places I'm not supposed to sometimes, just because I think that their signs posted are not legal and they're unconstitutional. They arrest me, I'll be the one that gets to sue for it. As a private not-for-profit organization leasing fair park for our annual state fair, we believe we have the right to make this decision and maintain that it is the correct decision to protect the safety of our patrons. Due to pending litigation, we will make no further comments at this time. Pretty bold. State Republicans turned up the pressure on the state fair to reverse course in a joint letter condemning the policy, but so far the organization has not given in. The OAG has asked the court to be awarded with fees associated with the litigation and for a suspension of the policy before the event comes next month. So the court could get in the middle of it really quickly and issue an order, and then it would play out. But interesting. We'll keep an eye on that one, because I really believe that however that case plays out is going to that will affect a lot of other venues. You know, there's buildings out there, civic centers and city-owned, county-owned buildings where they cannot prohibit carry. It is against the law. They can't prohibit carry there. Now, that leaves the question. Now, let's say, for instance, before we go to break here, like the Lubbock Civic Center, and someone rents out the facility and for an event and then establishes a no guns policy, a gun-free zone. Does this same thing apply? I think it would, because it's still a government-owned facility. I'm not sure they would be able to do that, and I think it would be up to the facility to tell them, you cannot prohibit carry here. Can't do it. But this will solidify these ideas if this case goes the way the Attorney General wants it to go. So, one, I'll be watching closely, of course, anytime we have. And, you know, even if it doesn't, the ledge is liable to fix it. You know, the ledge is liable to come back and say, that's fine, you don't want to do it, we'll just fix it in the legislature, and next year it'll apply to you. If they can get it signed into law quick enough, get the governor to sign it quick enough and enact it. Anyway, we'll take the final break of the week. We didn't do Nick's question of the week. He's probably glad about that. He didn't have a blue sweater and all. No question of the week. We'll skip it. We'll be back to wrap up the show, wrap up the week after the break.
You swear you've had enough. You're ready to give up.
The Titan of Texas Talk Radio, Chad Hasty.
Talking with newsmakers and about the issues that matter to you. The Chad Hasty Show, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m. Chad's show is also digital with the Chad Hasty Show podcast. The Chad Hasty Show podcast can be downloaded on Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and the Radio On Demand page at KFYO.com. The Chad Hasty Show, all across Texas during your drive home, weekdays from 5 to 7 p.m.
I answered the call. Together, we fought for our nation and its people. And even though I no longer wear the uniform, I am still a Marine. My service has come full circle. I will continue to support my country and my community. Then and now, Semper Fidelis remains my promise. Always faithful, always Marine.
Without looking it up. 3, 2, 1. It was Eddie and the Cruisers. Oh my goodness. 806-680-2790 as we wrap up the week. Get your last few texts in. Eric says, are you on the air Monday or is it a best of? It is a best of. It is Labor Day, sir. We will not be laboring. Eric also says Oregon and New Jersey law about filling gas tanks by attendants is a union job they're protecting. Forgot to mention that. Yeah, and I don't know if you were listening when earlier, but Oregon repealed that. August of 23, you can now pump your own gas in Oregon. After 72 years of gas pumping prohibition, you can pump your gas now in the big state of Oregon. All right. It's something just snazzy to rant and rave about. I'm all out of rant and rave. See, that faded fast, you know. I ran out of gas quick, but hey, you know, good stuff. I'm pretty excited over Ken Paxton's doing the state fair. And it's weird. I didn't really want them to comply. I didn't really want him. I wanted him to say, I'm not going to do it. I want him to sue. I want that to play out in court because of the lasting effects of it. There are many other things that will benefit from that playing out in court. That is absolutely too heavy of a story to bring you. Conservative beer companies can showcasing Trump's reaction to being shot brings in $1 million. It's titled Fight. Conservative beer company Ultra Right. Never heard of this beer company. It says it's unveiled can showcasing the former President Trump's fist pump after being nearly assassinated surpasses 1 million in sales. It's not a Yeti, but it's one of the big 32-ounce Yeti knockoffs, black, and it's got that whole image lasered into the cup. I got one of those the other day. Really cool. That image, I mean, it's iconic. Now, if I can just get Donald Trump to autograph the cup, oh my goodness, wouldn't that be great? I can add it to my autographed hat. I'll have a collection of Trump stuff just a month and a half ago. Why are they going to we all know a month and a half ago he narrowly escaped death in an assassination attempt. Let's see. Want to make sure that moment's not forgotten. I'm skipping ahead in this article. Seth Weathers, CEO of Conservative Dad's Ultra-Right Beer, in a press release today announcing the limited edition can has surpassed 1 million in sales. He's donating $25,000 to the Trump campaign and probably $29,000 to his Lamborghini fund. Our mission has always been twofold: to brew the best beer possible while also representing a movement. So I guess the movement's going to change. A movement of conservatives who are fed up with the woke agenda. I'm not sure how beer helps this, but hey, I'm down. I'm sold. Understanding the significance of this election, because now it's like it's going to be the beer of every conservative thing out there now, like the RNC next year. That'll be the beer of the RNC in 4 years. That'll be the beer of the Texas Republican Party State Convention. That'll be the official beer, the conservative beer. How great is that? They've really hit on something. Now we need to do like water. Eric, you got some money you want to invest? We're going to have conservative water. We'll be the official water of everything that is good. 923. Steve, done a great job this week. Thank you. Hey, I appreciate that. It does mean a lot. That I'm not just talking to myself. I would talk to myself too, even if you weren't listening. I'm going to talk. We never know. I mean, I'm just hitting a brick wall here with some airwaves. But your texts solidify. They codify the fact that you're listening. Thank you so much. Personally contributed $25,000 to Trump's campaign and its authorized re-election committee. I could not do this without the support of our loyal customers. Never heard of this. I'm not a beer person, but I've never heard of this. The Conservative Dads Fight limited edition 6-pack will only be available till September 15th. Oh, it's a cool looking can. That is awesome. According to the press release, on the previous limited edition Trump mugshot beer cans have fetched up to $1,000 per case on eBay. I'm confident this latest release will become even more of a collector's item. I kind of want it now. Then I'd want to drink it, and you don't want to drink it; it loses its value. Conservative Dad's Ultra Right beer. At least it's not ultra light, but it sure looks pretty light in the cup. I want them to make a dark beer. I'll drink it. Released a limited edition can in July, shortly after the failed assassination plot attempt, whatever, featuring the iconic fist pump. The ultralight beer was started in April 23 during the conservative boycott of Bud Light. That's why I haven't heard of this. That's awesome. Following its partnership with a transgender influencer, and immediately became an internet sensation. Last year was a wild ride by anyone's definition for conservative dads. Right beer. We launched on April 12th, and it went just incredibly wild and went very viral online. Now that'll be the you'll be lambasted if you drink anything but the conservative dad's beer now. You'll be at a rally at how dare you drink this beer? Why are you drinking a Coors? Let's see. We'll call it Chad Water. We can do that. Chad Water. Maybe we want to name it after ourselves. Hell Center Water. High Ground Water, something. I don't know. Anything like that. We gotta latch onto that while it's hot. While people are looking for conservative things but they're looking for conservative alternatives. You see that in music, everything. Well, if a liberal promotes this or uses this music, or their lyrics have anything to do with anti-conservative lyrics, we can't use them. We actually went through this at the last. I was on the planning committee for the last Texas Republican Party convention. We had to go through all the music, and some of it I had to listen to or go look up the lyrics and make sure that we weren't picking something that had liberal lyrics in it, or a band or singer that had contributed to the Democrat Party. That was a real thing. Had to go through. But, anyway, what a great way to wrap up the week, in the week, however you say it. Enjoyed being with you this week. I always do. Always a pleasure to fill in for Chad. It's a lot of fun. It's a labor of love. It's a great hobby, and I enjoy it. Your feedback on the text line and the phone line is my only payment. But I do enjoy it, folks, and glad to be there. Glad you're out there listening. I hope you have a wonderful Labor Day weekend. This is Barbecue Day. This is it. The day you go out and barbecue. So spend it with family and friends. I'll be back on Tuesday. I'll tell you what I cooked. I will cook something on Labor Day, no doubt. There will be some smoke rolling at the Evans household. But have a great weekend. This is the Chad Hasty Show on the Texas Town Square Media Network. I'm Steve Evans, filling in for the great Chad Hasty. Have a great weekend. See you Tuesday.
The Chad Hasty Show, a presentation of the Texas Town Square Media Network. The views and opinions expressed during the Chad Hasty Show are not necessarily the views of this station staff, management, advertisers, or Town Square Media.